I've run across a video, a particularly good and frank one, and I want to do a reaction video at the precise time that the Vitamix is going upstairs, so that's good. So the video is from a YouTube channel, F Stoppers, and this gentleman here, he does a very good job of talking about photographers finally realize AI has won. I recommend you listen to him go through this this video. Now, what I want to comment upon is in relationship to AI, and these are my comments about this video, and I've written down some points. So I used to work in that's funny, I was just on a meeting and somebody was saying ums, and I was like, wow, they're saying a lot of ums. And I say a lot of ums, apparently. I used to work in stock photography around 2003, 2004, 2005. So bandwidth was just becoming capable of delivering full res photos, videos, rather than packaging up compact discs, DVDs, and sending media through the mail. So that's how old I am. But at that time, there were different classes of stock photo, and micropayment was just coming in. So royalty-free represented the glut of content that you could access easily. Rights managed was a little more exclusive, higher end, had a more comprehensive end user license agreement for photographers and model releases. Royalty free is what you'd see on bus benches everywhere. You'd see the same, like that, the meme of the old guy who's like got his fake smile. That's royalty free. And then, so that industry experienced a technological disruption in the form of micropayment, iStock, and all these places where now the digital cameras were proliferating, iPhones, everybody was uploading their stuff. And the question is, why would I spend more money than I need to on a photo shoot for something that is eminently available, like a clipped styrofoam cup? Obviously, I'm just going to use my iStock credits and grab a micropayment version of that thing. Now, there's something that this gentleman says in the video. He says, making stuff that makes money. And I agree with him about that, making stuff that makes money. My question to people is, if your work is decidedly tactical and not strategic, then in many cases, it doesn't surprise me that you don't understand the trade-off for, in that instance, using micropayment, or in this instance, using all of the AI tools that allow you to do all of what they allow you to do, which, yes, render certain people's skill sets obsolete in the blink of an eye. But what if your deliverable has more to do with strategy than just being a tactical thing? For example, I also used to work for a dental office, and I would do visual communications, and I would be sourcing photos, for example. Like, if I'm not mistaken, Patagonia used to use user-generated imagery in their catalog. Why would they do that, Patagonia? Why would you do that? Do you need me to answer that, really? So for me, if I could get my hands on user-generated photos of my patients and use their content in my creative, that's better for me. Why? Well, it's more of a pain in the butt. Yes, it's more of a pain in the butt from the standpoint of like end user license agreements and model releases and royalties or whatever. Unless, and this is the point, perhaps your deliverable is less about a pretty thing and more about a relationship. And if your deliverable is actually a relationship, then I don't see how AI does that better than interacting with people. Now the question is, can you afford to do that? I'm saying, can you afford not to? In other words, by using better, faster, cheaper, by using AI, it reminds me of competing on price, right? It's a race to the bottom. So if people only like you because you're the cheapest, when someone else is cheaper, away they go. So Simon Sinek, why, what, how? Why did they choose you? Basically, in my work, I have noticed that, yeah, I make pretty things. Like I go to events and I provide a service. And let's say I make a pretty thing, but let's say I make a pretty thing, or let's say I'm in an org chart and I make a pretty thing, but I do so at the expense of all of the relationships up and down the org chart. Is he easy to work with? Is he flexible? Does he listen? Do I enjoy working with him? Sure, he makes pretty things, right? But are pretty things the only thing we're working on when we're working? These AI things, they're pretty, with all these like wacko symmetrical faces and everything, but it's a missed opportunity. And what I'm saying is AI doesn't know what it doesn't know. If you build it to make pretty things, it'll make pretty things. Can you ask AI to nurture relationships with a network of your referring partners? Show me, AI. How are you going to do that? AI has to show up and engineer an experience with people that's the most important deliverable. So what I'm saying is, my value to an event is only as good as the experiences that people have when they engage with me. So technically, when they come over and they disrupt me from my work and prevent me from making something pretty, I have to recognize, obsessive compulsive self, just pause for a sec. You engineering an experience for the person who wants to talk about their nephew or their niece's love of drawing, this is the true deliverable. It's the experience with the creative process. It's not just the pretty thing that you can get better, faster, cheaper, and wave a digital magic wand and have a computer do everything for you, and then give it to your customers and have them look at it and be like, yeah, meh. Or you can involve your customers in the creation of the thing. That's different. That's a different thing that you're working on. And what I'm saying is, a lot of this talk about AI establishing as its criteria about being able to make a pretty thing is it's missing the point. It doesn't know what it doesn't know. And I'm suggesting one of the things that it doesn't know is it was never about pretty things anyways. It was about relationships. Or maybe you didn't know that. The question is, well, how much of your work is decidedly tactical? And I would say a lot. A lot of the work is, right? So micropayment can come take that stuff away. That's great. But for the part of your work where it's strategic and not tactical, and where actually the deliverable is an experience for somebody, it's like, can you really afford to come in there and expect people to be happy and stoked because you're serving them digital craft dinner in a pot because it's easy and it's fast and it's cheap for you? Maybe. Good luck with that. What I'm saying is authenticity is not going anywhere. You're just going to have to pay extra for it. But it makes me laugh when people think that the desire for a real experience and a real connection and a real belonging and a real attachment to a tribe and being involved in it is going to somehow magically disappear because of tools. I'm like, you've completely missed the point. Like I said, for tactics, great. Let's do it as fast as possible. But for strategy and relationships, I think in the end, telling stories around a campfire will win. And that's my take on that. My reaction video. Peace out.